Animal here tomorrow night as we get ready to go here for the USRA B-Mod feature event.
USRA B-Mod's ready to roll out onto the racetrack. 26 cars going 20 times around. Here's your starting lineup on the pole out of Fort Scott, Kansas, the 28th. That's Andy Bryant to his outside. From Camdenton, Missouri, the F1 is Mitchell Franklin.
Inside of row number 2, Wednesday night's winner in the 1X out of St. Joseph, and the 1X is Shadron Turner. And to the outside, he has to hop right out of the stock car and into the B-Mod. It's the 4 Junior of Boone Evans.
John Sheets out of Nevada, Missouri in the 8S starts in 5th. And it's Dan Hovden out of Decorah, Iowa in the 16D that goes 6th.
Fanshawe, Oklahoma racer to the 510. That's Cody King starting 7th. And to his outside, the 11D is Waylon Dimmitt.
Adam Dunwoody out of Polo, Missouri in the 33D starts in 9th. 10th. That's Taylor Scalgi out of Caledonia, Minnesota in the 32.
13-time Lakeside Speedway track champion of the 1X is Tim Carrick out of Kansas in the 1K. To his outside, Ashton Pinkow out of Elma, Iowa in the 24P.
Starting 13th, it's Caden Stacy out of Springfield, Missouri in the 15S. Matt Avila out of Boone, Iowa in the 17L goes 14th.
Max Creek, Missouri racer under the 30 is Rex Harris, starts 15th. To his outside, Caden Bronner from Austin, Minnesota in 42B.
Starting in 17th, it's Cody Tuppert out of Blanchard, Louisiana, the 23 to his outside. Chris Jackson out of Lebanon, Missouri in the K65.
Mike Striegel from Hermitage, Missouri in the 17S starts 19th. To his outside, Sibley, Louisiana racer Colby Williams in 7cc.
Starting in 21st, Dustin Cruz out of Baltic, South Dakota in the 6. Logan Smith out of El Dorado Springs, Missouri in the 11L starts 22nd.
Lane New and Trevor Drake will start 23rd and 24th here tonight.
And your final row, Dalton Ragsdale out of Muskogee, Oklahoma in the 22D, and Tyler Kidwell out of 54 in the 54 out of Chinook, Kansas, draws tailback on the field.
Every single A main we've seen tonight has been really, really good, and it came down to the final lap. And of course, got word a few moments ago, I feel like this announcement has to be made. Sean Leisure DQ'd in your tuner feature event here tonight for transmission.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Well, I'm telling you, it's one of the toughest places in the country to pass tech here at the USRA Nationals. Darlow and Laura Mulder, the rest of the tech crew over there in the room of doom. You know, they want things right when you come to USRA Nationals. They're going to make sure it's right. So, waiting on the 4 of Boone Evans to get switched over into his B-Mod. Once he gets switched over into the B-Mod, he'll roll out, and we will be able to take the green flag.
So we've talked about Andy Bryant a lot this weekend, right? We mentioned it earlier. He's had a lot of speed on the weekend. This is his best starting position so far on the weekend, and I feel like if he has the same kind of speed that he's had, he'll be able to capitalize on this great starting position. Of course, he has a lot of really good drivers. 6 wins on the year for the Fort Scott, Kansas racer. A few of those wins coming at Humboldt Speedway this season, Electric City, and Nevada.
So Boone Evans now rolls slowly out onto the speedway and rolls to a stop there. Boone Evans again slated to start on the outside of row number 2. You see Hovden pull back, open that spot up for him. Evans going to roll now. Lights are going to go out. Field going to come to green this time off of turn 4. Two by two, they march through the start zone off of turn 4. Your B-Mod A main underway.
Andy Bryant looking for his 7th win of the season. Catches character right there to the bottom, missed the corner. Washed up the racetrack, allows Franklin to jump to the race lead. Mitchell Franklin looking for his 1st win of the year. Does Boone Evans, does just being on the racetrack a few moments ago play into his hands? Does that help him out? And he already from 4th to 2nd of the opening lap. Boone Evans trying to go back-to-back here after just winning the stock car feature event.
Yeah, you would certainly think it couldn't hurt at all as he's impressively worked his way into the 2nd spot in the opening 2 circuits of this one. Drives to the bottom of the racetrack, following the F1 of Mitchell Franklin. Bryant rolls around in third. There's John Sheets and Shadron Turner rounding out your top 5.
Bryant back on the heels of the 4 junior of Boone Evans as they roll back into 1. Bryant trying to get that spot back. Turner going to flash there to his outside. Look out down the back straightaway. Turner had to check the throttle right there in the turn number 3. Certainly hit the brakes. They made a little bit of kiss of contact. John Sheets ready to pounce right there off of 4. The 8S car rolling around the bottom of Turner there for the 4 spot.
Problem with the bottom side of turn 2. You see it on your screen at home. Looks like the 54 of Tyler Kidwell shoved up under the 32 of, I believe that's Lane New. That is the 32 in of Lane New, and Kidwell stuck on top of that left rear tire. Might take a second to get these guys peeled apart. Trenton, what's your thought process on a guy like Boone Evans right now? He just picked up that win in the stock car division. Just saw this racetrack where some of these B-Mud guys haven't been on it for a while. Do you think that plays into the hands and the advantage of the 4? Or do you think it's different race car, even playing field?
No, I think the front of that field's so good that it probably really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Maybe with a less experienced field out there, I would say that. But, I mean, Mitchell Franklin, Andy Bryant, John Sheets, Shadron Turner, I mean, those guys have a million laps around this racetrack. So, now, pretty level playing field right there.
All right, well, very matter of fact. But I would probably agree with that. And, I mean, even behind Turner, you look at Hovden, Cody King, Waylon Dimmitt, Scalgi, Tim Carrick. I mean, the names just go on and on as far as the types of drivers throughout this field. And if you're going to win this one, it's not going to be because you just had a couple of laps on it. It's going to be because you definitely earned it here tonight. As that looks like a mess right there on your screen at home, Zach. I don't know how they're going to get those 2 cars peeled apart there.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to do it at some point, as we'll get them. Got a huge chassis up there at Kidwell on the left rear. Well, eventually, we'll get them disconnected. Right now, doing a little cell phone racing. We'll see what happens. I did a little.
A what?
I compiled. Don't worry about it. I compiled a couple of things here. To Trenton's point, he talked about, man, when you look up into this top 8 or so here. We talked about Boone Evans. You're talking if the racetrack plays in his hands. He's got 12 wins on the year, looking for 13. Andy Bryant winless on the year. But everybody outside of Franklin has double-digit wins on the year. Turner, though, has 7. Boone Evans with 12, like I mentioned. 31-year-old John Sheets, 15 wins on the year. Dan Hovden, 26 wins on the year. 14 wins on the year for the 510 of Cody King. So, yeah, Evans is right there in a hornet's nest. I mean, any one of these guys can win this feature event here tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt, as they get Lane New peeled apart and then 54 Tyler Kidwell. Man, had a thought when those 2 cars kind of came apart. The 32 of Lane New had the 54 Kidwell shoved basically up completely underneath the left rear. And you don't know maybe what kind of damage might be done to the suspension or some of the tubing or bars underneath the car. But the body panels that these guys run on these cars nowadays, the plastic or phenolic type material, whatever you want to call it, that Lane New's car looks like it just rolled off the trailer. And is no worse for wear. It's crazy the types of body panels these guys are running and how it actually can help these guys continue on as far as not getting sheet metal into tires and things of that nature. Just as recently as 5-6 years ago, the last time I raced, we were still putting aluminum on the cars, and would have been nice not to have to deal with some tore up sheet metal like that. But hey, technology is always advancing.
Indeed it is. As Mitchell Franklin, winningless on the season, and he's got about 100 feature race wins in 2025 alone on his heels as we get ready to roll back to the green flag. The F1 punches his ticket down in front of Main Street with 3 laps scored, 17 to go in your B-Mod main event here on night number 3 of the Nationals.
Field rifles off, back down into turns 1 and 2. Franklin still leading. Boone Evans nearly caught that character spot at the bottom of the speedway that Andy Bryant did on the opening lap. He pushed up the racetrack a little bit, but able to maintain the 2nd spot. Now Bryant going to challenge to the outside, off of turn 4, side by side for 2nd at the line.
Andy Bryant's got it ripping around the top once again at car number 28. He's going to go higher than Willie Nelson on a cross-country tour with Snoop Dogg riding shotgun. Here comes the 28 down the back straightaway for 2nd. What a race we've got here. He's going to try to dethrone Evans for the 2nd spot. Shadron Turner going to drift from the middle there to the top, and John Sheets down to the bottom of him. 4 cars going for second right now. Franklin is hooked, Eric, right in the middle of the racetrack. Evans just caught some character right there. He almost went for a ride.
Absolutely, he did. The car took a hard right-hand turn. Shadron Turner was able to avoid any contact. Evans loses a couple of spots, but otherwise able to continue as he works his way off of turn 4, now under fire from the 16 of Dan Houghton. In front of him, Turner up top trying to get around the 8 of Sheets. Sheets working the bottom of the racetrack to perfection here. Those two battling for third and fourth. Down the back chute into 3 and 4.
8/10 was the advantage up front the last time by for the F1 of Franklin. Only 8 starts in this 2025 campaign as he continues to work his way into turn number 1 with your race lead. Brian has not budged off the top. He just shaved it down from 8/10 down to 0.640. So down to 6/10. The 28 car railing the top of the Lucas Oil Speedway. Into turn number 3 we go. Here comes Andy Bryant, car number 28. He is honking the horn off of turn number 4. It's just a matter of time for the F1 gets the proverbial rear view full of Andy Bryant in 28.
And really going to have to pay attention to the bottom of the racetrack over here in turns 1 and 2. Multiple cars now have hit that character spot we've seen at the bottom of the speedway. There goes the 54. Kidwell just did it. It shoots him up the racetrack. That's going to be something to watch throughout the rest of this one. If it bites anybody else, especially one of our leaders, is Mitchell Franklin going to roll to the outside of that spot. Andy Bryant way up top, nearly loses the handle on it. Franklin continues to lead off of turn 2 down the back straightaway.
Andy Bryant says, I'm not going to budge away from what's got me here. Here comes the 8S of John Sheets throwing his hat officially into the ring. 3 cars going for the top spot here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. And your night number 3 USRA Nationals B-Mod main event. 3 different lines these guys are running. Sheets trying to keep the 8S car lockstep in tow with the 28, but Andy Bryant takes over the race lead. It's not official yet until he crosses underneath the Foley Equipment flag stand, but he's got it off of turn number 4. Andy Bryant, your new race leader.
Andy Bryant down the front boulevard into turns 1 and 2, continues to pound the top side of the speedway. Franklin left to deal with the 8S of John Sheets. Sheets going to race by off of turn 2, so that puts Franklin back to the 3rd spot. Franklin now going to follow around the top part of the racetrack after watching himself lose not only the lead, but the 2nd place spot as well. This time by the flag stand, 8 laps to go. Andy Bryant out in front. John Sheets, though, here comes the 8S.
Man, it takes extreme talents to balance that race car to the top shelf of the racetrack with no mistakes. This one's going to come down to the driver who makes the least amount of mistakes here as we wage the war off of turn number 4. John Sheets, if he can pull in tight enough in tow to the deck lid to the 28, he'll attempt to throw a slider. Just not quite there yet to get the speed he wants to potentially throw that move. But it's coming, Eric. Into turn number 3, he's pulling in tight to Bryant for the top spot.
Sheets right now content to follow. You might wonder if he's maybe saving something. Doesn't want to show his hand too early. Might feel like he's only going to have a shot, maybe 2 at this thing. So again, content to ride behind the 28 of Andy Bryant for now. They stay hooked up, nose to tail, down the back straightaway. Now, Andy Bryant, you've got company. John Sheets to the bottom of 3 and 4.
Didn't quite stick how Sheets was hoping it for, but he'll roll right to the inside. Bryant around the top. Stuck a little bit better than we thought off the exit, didn't it? Here comes John Sheets. He'll drive it in deep. He catches the character right there. Look out, John. Wow. He corralled the car, and the 28 able to squeeze right back by. How did that happen?
I mentioned it a few laps ago. That spot was launching cars to the top of the racetrack. Sheets didn't roll around the top of it. He hit it. It launched him to the top of the racetrack, and that handed the lead back over to Andy Bryant. This time by the line, just 4 laps to go.
Now Sheets has to make up the difference. Down the back straightaway, he loses wholesale ground. 6/10 the advantage back up front for the number 28 of Andy Bryant. Looking for win number 7 of the 2025 racing season. Working his way. Lap traffic shouldn't be, it may be a factor. We'll see, but it shouldn't be too much of one right now as they roll into 1.
Good battle as Sheets trying to come back to the front. He loses the handle on it off the top part of the speedway at the exit of 2. Battle for 3rd and 4. Shadron Turner's won that one for now. Mitchell Franklin back to 4th. 5th and 6th side by side together. That's Tim Carrick and Dan Houghton down the front straightaway, back into 1 and 2.
Barring a late race caution here, and it'd have to come out pretty quickly. That late race mishap for the 8S of John Sheets may have sealed this one for the 28 of Andy Bryant. He rolls out before lap traffic up in front, but he has a nice insurance policy over second running John Sheets here. As the Hochatown Saloon, last call is out. Oh boy, we got the F1 of Franklin around off of 4.
The K1 of Tim Carrick, the F1 of Tim Franklin got hooked together off the bottom of turns 3 and 4. Not sure if Franklin slowed up or if Carrick had a run. We'll see how this one plays out. FK Rollins instant replay here on your screen. You see Franklin in your screen at home. There's Carrick dealing with the 16 of Hovden, and Franklin Comes to the bottom of the racetrack. It looks like maybe got a little sideways carriage, had a run, and just got together. So not real sure how they're going to decide that one.
Yeah, it looked like the F1 may have gotten a little sidestep there, but
Yeah,
I mean, the 1X finished him. I mean, I wouldn't say
again,
I don't know if he was going to spin. I don't.
one of those situations where I don't want to be the race
neither.
director making the call on that one.
I don't really like to be the one that talks about it, to be honest with you.
As again, it is.
Yeah, you have to put that one on the 1, I think. So the F1 goes around after a valiant run here tonight for Franklin, but it looks like he may retain it. We'll see how this gets scored here. But again, this puts John Sheets back on the heels of Brian after he thought that this one was over with. Caught that character down there 1 and 2, and then he shot over the top of 2 as well. He was lucky to hold on to second, all things considered, Eric. But he had a pretty good gap over third running Shadron Turner. Dan Hovden inside of the top 5 still in this one. Boone Evans has faded a little bit in the Ford Junior car. But again, this is Andy Bryant's race to lose at this point, or win, right? He is.
And Tim Carrick being called for the caution. Track officials asking him to drop to the tail of the field is what I just heard out of my right side. So after further discussion, watching the replay again here, both the F1 and the 1K going to go to the tail. So I'm sure there are going to be a couple of drivers maybe not thrilled there, but either way, like you said, the race back up front, John Sheets now has an opportunity to come back at the 28 of Andy Bryant.
Takes 2 to tango.
After hitting that character spot. I guarantee you John Sheets remembers exactly where that spot at the bottom of the racetrack is. Not going to do that again, but here's the question. You're starting on the bottom of that first double file row. What do you do to try to come back at the 28?
This is what I think is what he would like to try to do. He'd like to time up this restart nice and get a good launch off the bottom and just throw it in there in the 1 and try to throw the slider right here on the restart. I think that's what he'd like to do before the 28 can get his momentum wound all the way back up. If he can clear him, that's what he'd do. We'll see how it plays out here because he's going to have Turner on his outside too he's got to worry about as well. So this should be pretty interesting. But we know John Sheets. He's a gasser. He's not going to give these guys anything. He'll make them earn it here tonight. Of course, all these wins, all these races, always earned, never given. The 28 of Andy Bryan has had both hands and both feet upon the wheel throughout this 20-lapper. 19 scored, or 18, 2 laps to go in this one. A green-white checkered finish here in the USRA Nationals for the B-Mods. We're back away with Andy Bryant, your race leader, in car number 28 leads. John Sheets and Shadron Turner into turn number 1. Here we go.
Field rolls off into turns 1 and 2. Sheets on the bottom. Here comes Shadron Turner on the top of the racetrack. 3 cars battle for the lead into 3 and 4. Sheets deep into 3 and 4. Going to slide across the speedway. Andy Bryant turns it back to the middle. Here's Shadron Turner on the bottom. 3 wide to the checkered flag into 1 and 2.
Bryant slipped up the last time off of 2. He returns the favor. 1 slider deserves another. And Shadron Turner going to get 2 for the price of 1. He'll fall back to the 8S of John Sheets into turn number 3. Final trip through 3 and 4. The checkered flag awaits. John Sheets around the top. A final lap pass, and John Sheets to victory lane here in the B-Mods on night number 3 of the USRA Nationals.
Wow, what a gift the late caution was for the 8S of John Sheets, and he makes them pay. John Sheets going to victory lane here tonight at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Shadron Turner rolls to second. A disheartening, disappointing third for the 28 of Andy Bryant as well. Here's your FK Rollins instant replay. 3 wide to the checkered flag. Andy Bryant hard to the middle of the racetrack. Slides the 8S of Sheets. It's about the only thing that he could do in that situation. Sheets read it like a book, and there was Turner as well.
Another phenomenal race tonight. Every single feature race tonight has been awesome. We had a couple of photo finishes. I'm just not sure you can get a whole lot better than that.
No, absolutely not. I would certainly agree. As you see the 8S of John Sheets getting ready to roll down into Lucas Oil Speedway Victory Lane will send it down to Mr. Trenton Berry.